Hello and welcome everyone to the Coincidence Project Speaker Series. We are here today to welcome Heleen as our host and presenter. She has a wealth of experience, and we invite you to watch the replay on YouTube and to click subscribe to be notified of future events. We have a speaker series every month along with a Coincidence Cafe. In the speaker series, we focus a little more on the expertise of our presenter sharing with us, and the cafe has a little more of a focus on interesting prompts and topics to inspire conversation and to give people space to share their own coincidence stories. So without further ado, I will welcome Heleen here and let you take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Juliet. Yes, and welcome to all of you all over the world. I think a lot of people in the USA. I'm here in the Netherlands, in the northern part near Groningen, in the countryside. And well, we had a delay, sorry, but delays are very often a sign of synchronicity, introducing something special. So let's see. Very nice that you're still here. And I am Heleen Bijl. I'm board member from the Coincidence Project. And there's a lot of coincidence in my life. Always I find something on my path leading me or making me wonder, or I enjoy it a lot. And that's also a reason why I'm very happy to be a member of this project, in which we do a lot of research and a lot of talking about coincidence and all the difference there in that. I have my own consultancy firm. It's called Creative Consultancy, and I work all over the world in many countries to help organizations, people with leadership, creative thinking, communication, entrepreneurship, and it's a great joy to do it. And many of my stories are related to my work. I'm not a native speaker, so I hope you will apologize my English. And well, I have made a program for you. And first of all, I want to make a short summary of things I've learned in this project. And if you are an attendant who is very often in our Coincidence Cafe or on the speaker series, it will be very familiar. Or if you have read the books of Bernie Bijl, you will recognize the categories that I will show you. But still, I would love to show you some, because for me, it's a big help to get a little bit of grip on this so mysterious field that we have no words for. And I'm so glad that Bernie Bijl made a lot of names for the phenomena that we encounter if we are lucky enough. Juliet, could you please show the first slide of my PowerPoint?
Indeed, here we are. And just let me know when you'd like me to advance.
Yes, well, the title is Exploring Patterns and Mystery of Your Synchronicity. So we'll speak about the patterns that you can discover, and hopefully it can help you to get a more insight in what happens to you, because very often it's also wondrous and mysterious. Yes, and you see the logo of my company. We will see in a moment what can be your relation with coincidence. Probably you know already, but perhaps it's the first time you listen. What are the definitions of the different sorts of coincidence? What conditions help to let you to stimulate coincidence and to experience it? And what instruments do we generally see? And then we go to the patterns and what are yours. And hopefully we have time enough to concentrate on mind mapping. I want to show you this instrument because it can be very helpful for you. And if there's even time left, I would like to share something I'm fascinated about regarding to connectivity. Yes, that's it. And welcome, of course, once again. Yeah, this these sorts of meaningful coincidences you can find in the book, the wonderful book, my Bijl of Bernie Bijl. And of course, we speak a lot about synchronicity, things coming together in time, simultaneous occurrence of two or more meaningfully, but not causally connected events. And then there's serendipity. I think many of my stories are serendipity stories. You discover something that you were looking for, but in an unexpected way, and sometimes you were not looking for it, but it's valuable to you. And the Serendipity Society has a very beautiful definition, a discovery that occurs at the intersection of chance and wisdom. A bit like Louis Pasteur in France said, l'esprit, la chance favorise l'esprit préparé. So when you're a bit prepared in the mind, you can detect things earlier. And serendipity, well, it happens very often. Like I have the wish to read something, to learn something about my ancestors, and I think, oh, nobody can tell me about them because they are all dead. And then in 3 days' time, suddenly I find this book about 300 years, the family that I was looking for. I wasn't looking for this book, but it just falls to me. Like in Dutch, we say toeval, that means something falls towards you. You find it on your way, very unexpected and not looked for. Simulpathity, it's a word that I think Bernard Bijl invented, and I like it very much. It's, even though it's hard, because you experience the same suffering as someone else, even at great distance, and you don't know anything about the pain of the other. I do have this simulpathity with my son. And especially when he was young at primary school, every time he fell, he hurt himself, I had the same wound, and I knew when he came home what he experienced and where he got wounded. And last year I thought, finally, he's 33, now this has finished. And then I cut my finger very badly. I had to go to the doctor. And well, guess what? My son cut the same thing in the same moment and had to rush to the doctor. And our scars looked the same. So it wasn't completely gone. But there's always love and a big connection, I think, when you experience the simulpathity. And then there is seriality. It means it's a series of coincidences, a series of events, of numbers, for instance. Or in my experience, I have very often, I notice I have to be in a certain part of the city, and for a half a year or 1 year, I always have to be in that part, but for very different reasons. It's a sort of seriality. And I'd like to share a story with you that I also wrote in my blog, but I like to repeat this story because I think 4 of these words are into this story. Also, we have propinquity. What does that mean? That means when you're very near to someone, coincidence and synchronicity is more likely to occur, because I think there's a sort of telepathy with someone who's very near to you. And well, the propinquity means closeness, nearness, and it can explain a part of the meaningful coincidences that happen. And my favorite is the human GPS. I use it all the time. The human GPS, I think it's a great term to catch a lot of events. And when people share with me their stories, and I can say it's the human GPS, they look very satisfied because they think, well, finally I have a name for it. Well, of course, it doesn't explain anything, but the human GPS makes you feel you have some grip. And it makes you be at the right spot, the right place and time, meeting the right people. I think, well, probably you will have also this experience of human GPS. And the story I would like to share, and there is a picture, Juliet, I think on the next one. Perhaps you can show it. I don't know. Yeah, there it is. I was with my husband. I was biking and driving through Germany last year in the summer. And after 2 days biking, I said, something strange has happened. I come to notice the immatriculation numbers from cars. And I saw 9999, 8888, 777, 6666, all of them apart from 1111. But of course, we will not see it because it's already a very big coincidence. We see 2 days biking in nature, we encounter these cars, and I don't pay so much attention to cars usually. So next day, we came in a traffic jam, and we got completely lost, and I was very grumpy. We came in an industrial quarter of a German city, and that's not the place you want to be in general, on holidays, on your bike. And then I said, well, let's at least have breakfast. And I saw a cafe announcing there was coffee. So we go to this cafe. I'm a little grumpy in front of the window. And then I look outside and I see this red car that you see now. And I scream and I jump up, ran outside with my camera and said, wow, there is the 1111. And for me, it was a sign I had to be there in this place that I would never have visited by myself. And I took the picture, the car drove off, and you see the blue one on the other image came into the same place, and that was the 4444. Well, very strange coincidence. And well, it was the comforting sign that sometimes you are in a place you don't want to be, but it had to be this place to make you find what you were looking for unconsciously. And under you see a third image. That was happening while I was thinking to tell this story. Yeah, it's still on the same page. You see 200002. And that was what I saw on my kilometer plate in my car when I was thinking of this story to tell. And there were the 4 zeros that I had not collected yet. And 202 for the gas oil. So I think this is a story about seriality. You see the numbers. There's serendipity. You find what you were not looking for in that way. There's the human GPS. I was sent there. And well, this I think it's a nice story too. And synchronicity, of course. So all 4 are there. Can you show me the next one, please, Juliet? Yeah. And here you are going to recognize yourself probably in the types of people in relation to coincidence. Well, there is the agnost, and there are so many agnosts. And since you are here, probably there are not so many agnosts among you. That's the one who doesn't believe anything about coincidence. Not interested at all. And also it are the people that say everything is statistically to be explained. And I had to give my TED talk a few years ago about coincidence in front of 120 scientists. Imagine how many people in my audience were not believing in coincidence at all. So, well, I think that is the most fascinating thing, that people don't believe in strange and meaningful coincidence, because in my life it's such a regular thing. And you cannot explain everything. There's so many things not to be explained. Generalists, that is the one who thinks of coincidence like an ever-present friend, as Bernie Beitman describes it. It is also, I think, the one who thinks it's like coffee in the morning. I cannot live without it. It's my oxygen, my compass, and it counts a bit for me. Very close to that are the high frequency coinciders. They They experience a lot of coincidence. The amazing only, there are a lot of people who are the amazing only, I call them this way. The people who only experience special coincidence when there's something very big for them, like finding your new lover, your new house, getting your job, things like that. Then they talk about special coincidence. And many of my students say, oh, it's all just coincidence. Why bother? Why finding that interesting? And the super encounters are the people who are sure they are going to encounter something special for them that gives them new ideas, that gives them connections, that like artists, they find something for the sculptures. I think I did a project in Italy. We were in Venice thinking about a new logo for our project. It was called Leonardo Next. And we couldn't find a good logo. And then I said, let's the logo find us. And the others agreed. And we stood up from the terrace, walked in another street, and there we saw the three of us. We saw it in the same time. We saw exposition of all the inventions of Leonardo da Vinci. And in front of the door, there was a big wing of a bird that was designed by Leonardo. And all of the three, we said, yes, the logo found us. And that was our logo for our years to follow project. The connectors, that are the very kind persons that experience coincidence in relation to help other people that they are very connected to. Really very lovely thing. There are more types, of course, but probably you will know already who you are. Yes, we can go to the next slide. A few conditions that I think are very important in experiencing synchronicity and serendipity is that you try to be as open as possible. And of course, that doesn't happen all the time. And then you will have your expectations overturned. And I think this is a nice sentence: respect and expect the unexpected. Yes? So when you find something unexpected, don't put it aside, but pay attention. And the most important of all, according to me, is like to connect. You must like to find connections. I love to find connections personally. I don't know why, but my whole life I'm busy connecting people to each other. When I'm making a trip in the train, I will connect to the people around me, and I will connect them to others all the time. I want to connect. Also in my job is creative thinking, helping people to find new ideas. I am connecting all the time. And so I hope all of you like to connect. It's a joy. But of course, some people don't, and some people do. Don't worry if you don't like to connect at all. Delays. Well, we had a delay in starting up, and very often there is a delay that causes you to meet the right people or be in the right place, at least in my experience. And if you experience something very coincidental, take a bit of time to zoom in, look for deeper layers. There appear to be 12 layers very often in every coincidence. Ask probing questions, dive deeper, and especially be curious, also if you find it impertinent. And follow your intuition. These intuitive impulses that makes you talk to someone or go to a special place. There's sort of inner drive, but you have to act, of course, otherwise nothing happens. And well, if you like to connect, you see and recognize patterns, and we will speak about patterns later. And well, I think that when coincidence accumulates, it's a sign that you are very connected to your dream, your desire, and also with the right intention. And very often it's bigger than yourself. The goal is more important than yourself. And then you will see, you will stumble over the coincidence that helps you, that supports you to realize your dream. And the last one is be out and about. When you go out of your comfort zone, also when you travel, we saw in many stories that it helps to find coincidence. And yesterday I heard an interesting thing. Someone told me that people who have an associative mind tend to have less dopamine in their body. Dopamine is the stuff that makes you happy. So it sounds a bit sad. You like to associate, but you have less dopamine. But to get more dopamine, you like to get adventures, to get a kick, to boost it. So you go around, you go out and about to live these adventures. And just that is important to create more coincidences. So it's a bit a vicious circle. You become, when you're associative mind, you tend to see more coincidences, and you go around and you will experience more coincidence. And this all will make you happy because you get this dopamine shot. Well, this is new for me. I just thought of it yesterday. Thank you. Next slide. Hope you are still there. I cannot see anybody. Yeah? Instruments. Well, I just go fast through this. Many instruments make use, are the instruments to create coincidence. A lot of internet coincidence. Internet is, of course, the place where everything is connected very fast. Books that you see that tend to get your attention. Animals, birds, plants, trees, very important. And especially for the animals, there is a high frequency of elephants and monkeys. And for the birds, there is the hummingbird in America. In Holland, we have no hummingbirds, but all over the place, there are the herons. And I think this is very special because the heron, for me, the heron bird, it means a lot to me. Every year, on the minute that I remember my father's dying day, a heron appears wherever I am, even in the big city. And I heard so many stories in our board also about people having similar experiences. And in old mythology, the heron is the sign of life and death. So it has a very special function, even if it's a bird that we don't speak so much about. But also many people have trees that they like to share stories about, plants, and of course, special people. I have also about 8 or 9 people that are very often involved in my coincidence stories. Numbers, dreams, delays, we spoke about it, and we think that love plays a role. At least love in the sense of feeling very connected to someone, even if you don't know it. It's not physical love or it's spiritual love. It's some attachment to someone else that is, in a way, very important to you. So love helps us to get coincidences. Yes, we can go to the next. Well, now we come to speak of patterns, because that was also in my title. And my personal favorites are coincidence with pictures. Oh, such a lot. Pictures, images, paintings. And I want to share with you a few short ones. It's always difficult to make a story very short and still get the essence, but I will give it a try. One is about pictures. Perhaps you can show the next one. I think it's there. Yeah, it's there. Well, this is a real Dutch image. It is about tulips, and I took it last year, and you see a lot of red tulip and there was only one white, and I found that funny. It was next to a small road in the countryside. I'd never been there before. I took this picture, and a few weeks after this, or a few months, I sent it to my colleague and friend. And just random, I had no reason to send it. But she calls me immediately. She says, "Why? How is it possible? Why do you send me this picture?" What happened? She was standing with her husband at this field where all the tulips were already gone. So it is a black acre of pure ground. And she was saying to her husband, "I wonder how this field has looked like when all the flowers were there." And then she get this beep on her mobile, and there is my picture of this same field. And also, she had never been along this road. It's about 60 kilometers from our house. So, and I told this story to my daughter-in-law, and I look at my mobile, and there's this picture as a memory, because sometimes your mobile gives you memories out of nothing. Yes. Oh, and there is in the chat, what did you write? "I'm crying because I asked to see a white flower," as an answer to one of my questions. Oh, really? So beautiful. Well, that's the thing that happens. It gives me goose flesh. That's the thing that happens all the time in our coincidence project. That's coincidence happens here, also in the breakout rooms. Thank you so much. Well, and can we go back, Juliet, to the former page? Yes. So pictures. And one more I don't have a picture of, but I'd like to share it with you. I was going to a garden party last summer, and suddenly, just before arriving, I thought about the island of Iona. It's a small island near Scotland. And I had this desire to go there. And suddenly this desire comes up into my mind. I have no clue why. But I enter the garden, there's the party going on. I sit next to a lady, elderly lady. I don't know her, and I see her ring. And I said, "Oh, what a beautiful ring you wear." And she says, "Yes, that is the coast of Iona in my ring." It was full of little holes and bubbles. It was cut very beautifully. And I fall from my chair, say, "Wow, I was thinking of Iona." And she says, "That's the place I love most." And at that moment, honestly, at that moment, my mobile gives a ping, and I look, and there is a painting, there is a picture of the coast of Iona, that on that very moment, a friend of me with his wife was on the boat and approaching the coast. He took a picture and he wanted to show me, "I'm near Iona." We never talked about it. So very strange coincidence with engaging the pictures also. And well, there's so many, but since we ran out of time, I will share them in our story collection. And why pictures? Why images? Why paintings? Why? I asked myself this question when I realized this pattern that is recurring. I think because I love pictures and images, and I like painting. I go to a museum. I can stay a long time in front of a painting. I take so many pictures. People, you will not believe. I have over 70,000 pictures on my mobile. And I was 2 weeks in Tanzania last week and the week before, and I took more than, I don't dare to say, I took more than 4,000 pictures. So pictures and images is something that is very dear to me. My mother was a professional photographer, so it's also in the genes, I think. And then I was thinking, why then these pictures? Perhaps the universe or whatever being it may be that helps us and support us in coincidence thinks this is a very good instrument to find my attention, to attract my attention, because I love pictures and images. It will make use of this instrument. Well, that's a finding I have to explore. So it's a mutual affair, I think. And perhaps we can go to the next Africa. Yeah. The thing I discovered about pattern, why do I speak about patterns? Because I discovered that all our board members, they tell their own kind of stories. And I recognize their special stories. So there's Catherine Winsor. She has lovely stories. But very often it is happening because she starts talking to someone out of nothing, out of the blue, not logic. And this person is exactly the person she needs to answer her question or to help her further. So there is also Mary Kay, who is an expert in the I Ching. And she experiences her coincidence through the I Ching. And I love hearing about the I Ching, because in our Western society, we have this linear thinking from A to B to C, always with a cause and effect. And I think it's so limited. But in China, as I learned from Mary Kay also, you have this more holistic thinking that everything in this time space, I think it was about 3 months, belongs to each other, is connected to each other. And that's why the I Ching works, because it is connected to everything that happens in this 3 months space of time. Well, so I love to hear about the Chinese way of thinking in that regard. Well, but you are looking perhaps at this picture and asking yourself, what am I seeing? Well, this picture was taken 2 weeks ago, and it was from my African journey to Tanzania. My daughter is there as well, and a friend. And I love working in Africa. I do it now almost 18 years. And I realized that many of my stories, many of my special coincidences happen when I travel through Africa. And my 4 clients that have become my good friends, among my best friends, I have so much coincidence with them. And I will speak later about these women, but I will start with another contact, and she's called Namakau Sianga. She lives in Zambia, and I got to learn her in 2015, and I invited her to come to the Netherlands. She was Entrepreneur of the Year, and she celebrated her 34th birthday in my house on this very table that I'm sitting on. And I invited some friends of mine to celebrate her birthday. And then one friend, he's a trainer, and he started talking about his work as teaching people to speak like Obama. It was in the period of Obama. And then the mobile of Namakau rang, and she got celebrating her birthday a picture of a friend who out of nothing made a collage of Namakau together with Obama in one picture. So we were very surprised. But 1 hour later, she got an invitation, a very official invitation, to be one of the African young leaders in Spain, to join for 1 month of teaching with Michelle and Barack Obama. And that she did. So I thought it was very special. Last year, she almost became president. Hopefully, she will be in the future. And then there is this other story about Oshumu. He's on the picture. And he's a very good friend of me in Tanzania, in the northern part. He's also connected to the coincidence project, but he has very little internet usually. And he's a Maasai guy. And I met him 6 years ago. And I said, next time I'll come to Tanzania to work, I will do something for you. And he said, well, I have 55 women, Maasai women, ready to start for the first time of their life a business. And this was the second year we went to visit the women. And I've started a cooperation with a vegetable garden. And it started out very well, but then there came problems with the weather, too much rain, too dry, a lot of problems. And this time we came back to help them. But I made a mind map because there happened so much in these two weeks, so many coincidences that it was almost not to believe. So I made a mind map, and I'll come back to a mind map. I'll show you, well, a small one very shortly. And you see how full it is, full of branches and full of items that show every branch is a very special coincidence that happened. People coming on our way during these 2 weeks in a mysterious way, coming on our path, all in support of the work we do with the Maasai ladies. And it was incredible. Like just before leaving, my daughter goes to Congress. She feels the need to go into a room. She has no idea which workshop is given. There is a Maasai man that I wanted to meet. She didn't know. She gets in contact. She gets also in contact with the organization Just Dig It, helps the earth becoming greener. Just Dig It is near these Maasai women. We look them up to make an appointment, and they are next door to our lodge. We go there next day. We are invited. The lady we meet from Just Dig It, I introduced myself and I named the name of Oshumu, our Maasai friend. And she says, Oshumu, that's one of my best friends. And I worked with him. And so on and on and on and on all the time. So many coincidences. And I think this is work that I do. I love it. I become very, very happy of this kind of work. It is belonging to my life path, to my big dream. And why Africa? I was already in primary school. I was dreaming about Africa. Never been there, my parents neither, but my grandfather wanted to emigrate 120 years ago. So perhaps it's inherited in my genes, and my children have the same passion. So very connected to my passion and perhaps to many other things. And I'm very grateful for the work I can do over there. Very grateful. And then I think it's time I stop, because I've been talking a long, long time, and I hope you want to be in a breakout group and talk about what are your patterns. Do you recognize patterns? Is there a relation with you, your preference, a hobby, your character? Is there any message in a pattern you can find? And if not, well, you can think about it later. And you can discover patterns. So we take about, 10 minutes, 12 minutes in groups of 3, and the breakout groups. Juliet, if you will be so kind to make groups, and you will get a sign when we come back in the larger group to share.
Yes, give me just a moment. I'm putting it together right now for 12 minutes. I'll be ready in just a sec.
Yeah. I hope I didn't speak too much, too long, because after that I would like to share you with some about mind mapping.
And Heleen, one of the striking things about what you're describing is being of service increases coincidences, increases synchronicity. And just how that happens is intriguing, but there's part of the love that you have, and we mean love is something we need to keep using different ideas about, but also that you're in a new place and you're doing something that people need, and you're running around making connections.
Yes.
It's a beautiful illustration of a way to increase synchronicities, what you do.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, I think so too. It makes me extremely happy, and it's a big joy, and it's very surprising all the things we meet on our way. Yeah, big
Very
love. Yeah.
All right, so we'll have rooms with 3 and one room will have 4. So just give your colleagues a chance to speak and we'll have 12 minutes. After 11 minutes, you'll get a timer that pops up and says it counts down from 60 to give you notice that we're going to come back to the main room. So talking about what patterns you've noticed in your own coincidences here from the slide, and then we'll see you all in 12 minutes.
Great. Yes.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had nice breakouts. Anna Heleen, you're welcome to, take questions or keep going with your slides. You have the floor again. Just let us know what you'd like to do.
Yeah. Perhaps it's nice to hear one or two stories. Anybody?
If
Can
anyone would
raise
like
your
to
hand.
share, you can use the
Anybody?
reactions button to raise your hand. A little yellow hand will appear, or you can just wave at us. I've got my camera on so I can see you if your camera is on.
I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yes, Ilona.
Yes.
Yes, Ilona, yes. I've had synchronicity all my life. My daughter died in 2001. She was 21 years old. And the odd thing about this was that ladybugs kept appearing in my life. And her email address was her name was coccinelle, which in French means
Yeah.
ladybug.
Maybe.
Oh,
And so I've had ladybugs, even still today, but in Manhattan, for example, on the 30th floor outside the window. I've had ladybugs in St. Petersburg on a shelf. In Russia, I have ladybugs in a train station, and it has happened, and it's still happening, and it's quite extraordinary. And the other thing I wanted to mention, because I have never had an answer, is that now I am 79 years old. The picture is a little bit old on there. But my daughter-in-law, she is in her 50s. And she has been married to my son for 20 some years. But each time we get together, when there is something to say or some reaction or something, we're saying the same exact words in the same exact intonation without any preparation or without any thinking. It just happens. And we look at each other and I said, where did this come from? And I don't know whether anybody else has ever had this kind of experience, and I would love to know about that if in case there is.
Yes. Beautiful story. Yes, about the coccinelle ladybug. You call it
Coccinelle, yes.
coccinelle. Yeah, coccinelle.
Yeah.
There are two things that you mentioned. The ladybug one in New York City is odd, and there's a story. I think it was Joseph Campbell that had one on his a praying mantis on his 50th floor in Manhattan. Away from, it shouldn't have happened either. So insects have a way of talking to us,
Yeah.
and the idea of your saying the same things at the same time has been studied with twins,
Yes.
where that happens too. But there's something twinned about you and your daughter-in-law.
Well, we are not, as far as I know, we are not genetically or anyway connected. I mean, my background is European. I live in Virginia now, but I grew up in Europe, and she grew up in Minnesota. So I have no idea how it comes that you know, we say, I'm saying word for word, a whole sentences at the same time with the same intonation. And I would like to know where this comes from, because I've never had it with anybody else.
Yeah, I'd like to say something about that, because I have the same experience with my daughter very, very often. And we say the same sentence and the same sounds so at exact the same moment that we don't even hear a difference.
Yes, yes.
It's completely synchronous. And well, of course, my daughter is very close to me. And especially when we make a trip like we did in Tanzania, we have it all the time. And yeah, I think you're very close to your daughter-in-law.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'll continue because we started a bit later. Is that okay?
Sure thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I have a more far out than that, than what she says with her and her daughter. I'll be reading and the TV will be in the background. And at the same time I'm reading a word, that word will be spoken on TV. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that. I've experienced that many of times. And when it first started happening, it freaked me out. Like, whoa, how I take it now as a sign that I'm on the right track or whatever I'm doing, but I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced that, but I just wanted to throw that out there along with, I just think it's the coolest thing ever. Like I said, how a regular TV program and a book that I'm reading, the same word I'm reading will show up on the screen or be said at the same time, and I'm reading that word. It's, like I said, the coolest thing ever.
And Erin put in the chat that she has that happen a lot, especially with songs on the radio or with road signs. And I think we see that. And Anna Heleen seems to have it a lot with, she speaks and then it comes through a photograph on her phone, or she sends the right thing at the right time. That images can be somehow synchronized with thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also with the radio and the television, that I say, what's the name of this mountain in Mexico? And then on the radio is Popocatépetl and Isla. So funny.
The universe is listening and answering your questions.
Yeah, really, really. No explanation. Well, yes. Let me see. Yeah. And about the coccinelle, ladybug, I think that's also what I want to share with you, that we are so much more connected than we think with nature. We are nature, and we have put it a bit aside. But in many cultures, these things are very normal, and people do healing rituals and expect animals to arrive, or insects. So actually, you're very close to the essence of being human and one with nature. That's what I wanted to add. I want to share also with you, but I had this for the last, but perhaps I should say it now. I spoke about it in our board also. There is a lot of research now on how much underground trees are connected to each other. And we as humans, we only dare to believe what we see. But underground, there is this mycelium, this fungus that is endlessly long and connects every tree to the others. I live on the edge of the forest. Every tree is connected to all the other trees. And they are feeding each other. They are supporting each other very altruistically. And this is knowledge that is rather new and exciting, because we did an experiment. We did a constellation with 8 climate organizations in the Netherlands, and we wanted them to cooperate more. And we did a constellation, so they were looking for how can we work together, but it got completely stuck. After a quarter of an hour, nothing moved, and everybody was only looking at the other. What can I get from you? Will you steal my ideas, etc., etc.? So it was really a disaster. And then we introduced the notion of the mycelium that is very altruistic and looking for the benefit of all. And we did some exercises to make people sensitive to the mycelium idea. And then suddenly something started happening, that everybody started behaving according to this law of this mycelium and started working together and looking for the goals that would benefit for the whole. And they, in the end, after the exercise, every climate organization formulated their goals differently. And well, we were very, very excited when we heard about this experiment, and we tried several times more, and every time we got the same result, that the wisdom of what is this learning capacity of also of the mycelium that we never really took serious is very exciting, and we hope to learn much more about it in this period of big difficulties on Earth. Well, at least I spoke about this, and then I want to share with you one tool that can help you find more patterns, more coincidences, and that is mind mapping. And I have an example. Please, Juliet, can you show us the example of the mind map? And mind map is, perhaps you can show us for one moment the image and then return to this. Yeah, this is a mind map I made. It looks rather complex, but it isn't, of the Coincidence Project. And you start in the middle there, you put the essence of what you want to write down. And then you work clockwise with big branches and smaller branches. And what is it all about? You make notes. And you see in one page, you see all the connections, you get new ideas, it's very flexible, and you can do this with your coincidence experiences. So you take an experience and you make a mind map of it. And then you will realize that there are more coincidental lines to be drawn, that there are more layers, that are you get this broader view, you get much more insight, and it works very, very well. So it's very easy, and everybody got his own style. If you use colors, it works even better. Subject in the center, work clockwise, curved branches from thick in center to thin, and you write above the branches. And you only take keywords, yeah, not whole sentences, but only the essence, the keywords. If you can, you make a little drawing that is worth 1,000 words, or a symbol, and you can make, you can put all your associations, all the things that come into your mind relating to your subject, you can put them in this mind map. And you will keep the overview because it's only one page. And your personal style, it's just okay. And well, colors is a bonus. It's not necessary, but it's a bonus. So I want to make how do you call it? Publicity. It's not English, but I hope you will try to do mind mapping on your own stories. And I did on my story in Africa, and I saw it doubled in 20 minutes. It doubled the branches because you often forget a lot. And well, and then you wonder about the magic that is supporting you in many, many ways. And in the Coincidence Project, we have the plan to facilitate looking at patterns in all the stories that we assemble, collection, by AI, artificial intelligence. And we hope artificial intelligence will see the patterns in all the stories, and also individual stories, but also in groups of stories. So that will be in the near future. I think we will come up with some results. And Let me see. I think most of what I wanted to share, I shared, and it's time. I want to thank you so much, all of you, for listening, for being here, and I hope so much some of what I told will make you think, will make you enjoy more, and I hope you will share your stories. I love the action of Catherine Winsett. She said, I will write every 3 days, I will send a story to my friends. And that is pushing her to write it down. And all the friends start also writing down their stories. So it's happening. And perhaps you can do a similar experiment as well. And well, if there are any questions, we have perhaps 1 minute left, I don't know. Anybody?
You. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Just one comment. I think our society is really destroying nature. Like that's the way the economy works.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you get out in nature and you're hanging out with people who respect nature, you tune into a whole other world.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. And there are a lot of initiatives, a lot, when you plunge into that matter. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And I think we're going to dedicate the April Coincidence Cafe to talking about nature and animal and plant and tree coincidences and bring the focus back there. One of the co-hosts couldn't do the March date, so it looks like April Cafe. I think in March, we'll be meeting. The cafe is always on the third Saturday of the month, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And please translate for your time zones, which are all over. And then we do new themes each time. So I think we're going to continue talking about spiritual awakenings in some form for the March Cafe. We're getting ready to meet this week to kind of determine that. So we do hope to see all of you again. And we hope that you've all found the Coincidence Project .org or .net, actually. It's .net, like we are all part of this net or web of connection for the website. And we're so glad to have all of you with us, and we're grateful for your patience there as we had a lag to get started today. But as Anna Heleen says, sometimes it's just what's meant to be. And thank you, Anna Heleen, always for sharing your stories and your wisdom and mind mapping and your creative way of living your life with all of us.
Thank you so much, Juliet. You are such a pearl, as we say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How do I find this on YouTube, a recording?
If you go to YouTube and in the search bar type The Coincidence Project, you'll find our YouTube station and just click subscribe. Also our email list. I will send out the link to this and all of our presentations as they get posted to YouTube. I'll send the links through our emails. We usually send about one a week through the Coincidence Project email list. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I see one remark of Mark Latowski about mycelium. Is he still here? No?
Nope, he logged off.
He logged off, okay. Because they have this theory that our ancestors in prehistoric times walked behind elephants, and in elephant poop there is a special fungus, mycelium, that grows that makes you imagine all kind of things, that was the source of our brain and becoming human beings the way we are. We thank it all to elephant poops. That's why. Okay. Thank you all so much. And if you, hi Shanice, it was nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. You have the map of Europe behind you, I think. The country, Norway and Finland. Yeah, and Holland.
Yeah, on your screensaver behind you.
Yeah, on your screensaver. Yeah.
Yeah, Shanice, the part of the Earth showing on the map from space is Northern Europe, where Anna Heleen lives.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't
So
know
cool.
that. Cool.